One of the issues with agricultural production, especially in intensively cultivated regions, is there are a lot of nutrient losses in that farmers need to apply nutrients to grow their crops and they do their best to manage them. But given the environment we have and the type of the system that's being farmed, there's certain times of the year when the soils are just really vulnerable to losing nutrients. If those nutrients are lost, they have a number of different environmental impacts. They impair ecosystems in different ways. It can have effects on human health. So one of the strategies that's been found to be really effective is cover crops, which provide living vegetation. They're planted in the fall, they survive the winter, green up immediately in the spring, and start to soak up water and nutrients out of the soil so it can't be lost to the environment. What's really promising about crops like camelina is they can be harvested in the spring for cash value. So camelina is an oilseed crop. The seeds can be harvested and either potentially go into the food system or can be harvested as a biofuel crop. So in this way it can provide a revenue stream for farmers, and since it's a winter crop it can be incorporated into existing corn and soybean rotations. So there is indeed a lot of work that's been going on for a while at the University of Minnesota on camelina. In this project, the way we're adding to that is in a couple of ways. First of all, we're specifically designing some agronomic experiments to systematically collect data on the water quality impacts of different ways of incorporating camelina into the cropping system. And then we're looking at the energy balance of the camelina cropping system. So there's an aspect to this project that carefully tracks both the energy consumption and energy production of this system. We also have a socioeconomic component to this research project where we're specifically looking at the incentives that farmers face and developing new types of incentive systems that make it the most advantageous for farmers to incorporate camelina or even other practices.
From a water quality perspective, we're trying to look at sort of a win-win here, that we're trying to have a really productive system that's also more or less environmentally benign, so that we're minimizing the export of that nitrogen out of the system. And the way that we do that actually in our plot systems is we've got corn and beans growing simultaneously, and we actually have a drain pipe buried in the ground, and we have a control structure and what we call a pressure transducer in the system, so that when water drains down to the tile and then exits the system, we're actually able to monitor the volume of water that's leaving each individual plot. And then we're also actually able to look at the water quality coming out of those systems. When we start looking at this out into the future, hopefully we provide an opportunity for farmers to expand their enterprise and be profitable, be productive, and environmentally sensitive.
We do have a large socio component, particularly some surveys that we're doing with farmers, and we're trying to figure out why they make the decisions that they do. We're finding more and more that I think the traditional idea of like, oh, well, if it costs X number of dollars an acre to convert over to a cover crop system, then let's just pay them that X number of dollars and then, they'll do it. And that's not really the case. So you really can't look at this just from a mathematical or biological perspective. So you have to have a sociological component to try and understand why people do what they do. So part of the goal here is just to figure out ways that we can take all these different things and put them together. Because when you have a problem that's as multifaceted as dead zones are, you can't just look at it from one angle and think that you're going to solve the problem. You have to have an interdisciplinary lens.
The program at NSF, it really stresses interdisciplinary research, bringing people from different fields of study together to create new types of knowledge. And that's one of the roles that we try to play in the center, actually. And we see our role as bringing together different fields of study to create new things. So this program created a good opportunity for us.
We hope that by integrating these different areas, we'll be able to come up with some clear messages for policymakers to show that if you do take these things into account, then maybe you can develop a better policy that has a bigger impact and ultimately makes the environment a little bit cleaner for everybody.